these bloody immigrants coming into our country and ruining everything. You know, this Brexit is a very good thing, you know. This is because these immigrants, they should not be here. Are you kidding me, bruv?
Please mind the gap between the train and the platform.
That is a reenactment of something that someone said to me. This was shortly after the referendum, and I was like, wow, you're of the same ethnicity as me. You know, it's pretty horrific seeing an increase in racial hate crime ever since Brexit, and it's just so upsetting to see. You know, as you guys know, I live in London, and I do see the way that people speak to immigrants. And, you know, the word immigrant is such a loaded term. It's attached with certain connotations, which I don't like. You know, why are some people called expats when other people are called immigrants? And especially with how the word immigrant is used in the media, it's often portrayed in a very bad light. And so, you know, I'm using the word immigrant with caution, but essentially for someone who English isn't their first language, I think we need to do our best to help them on their journey. Yes, I am a strong believer that when people come to a particular country, they should learn the language of that country. So obviously people coming to England, they should learn English. And, you know, I'm not doubting that, but I think we need to be understanding and also helpful, and we need to aid them on their journey to learning English. And I think us creating a difficult environment for them is not going to help anyone. You know, my parents have also struggled with English. They were refugees from Sri Lanka, and they really struggled with learning English. As a child growing up, I often saw how people spoke to my parents, and it's often very derogatory, and people do look down upon people who can't speak English fluently, but a lot of times it's not their fault. They are learning. It takes time. You know, as people become assimilated into society, it doesn't happen overnight. And, you know, I really see, you know, the way people speak to immigrants, and it's really, really upsetting to see. Just because they can't speak English doesn't mean they're inferior to you, doesn't mean they're stupid. It's really stupid to assess someone's intelligence based on their fluency in English. They might be multilingual in, I don't know, Hindi, Bengali, Gujarati, Punjabi, Tamil, Malayalam. They might know like 6 languages, but just because they don't know English, suddenly people look at them as if they're dirt, right? So that's something that does not sit well with me. So this video is just to spread a bit of positivity, and it's some of the ways that we, as native English speakers, can help immigrants, and it's the way in which we should speak to immigrants. Advice number 1 is to slow down. I know it's difficult. You might be used to speaking at a particular pace, and it's quite long to be able to kind of slow down every single thing that you're saying. But to someone who's not understanding you, there's no point getting frustrated and speeding up, right? I still remember a time when my mum, quite a few number of years ago now, was on the phone on a helpline, and it was a helpline dedicated to help customers. And the person on the other end of the phone had a very thick Scottish accent. And I remember even at the time, even I was struggling to understand this person on the other side of the phone. And my mum was like, "Oh, I'm really sorry, could you repeat that, please?" And the person on the other side of the phone just ended up raising their voice at my mum, and spoke faster and raised their voice, and got frustrated that my mum couldn't understand. But my mum politely asked, "Could you repeat that, please?" Because, well, what else is she supposed to do? She doesn't understand, so she's gonna ask for you to repeat yourself, right? So that's advice number 2. Don't be afraid to repeat yourself. Be understanding that they might have not understood the vocabulary which you've used, and they might be in a difficult situation, so just be understanding and repeat yourself. The third tip is don't use slang. You might not even realise the slang that you're using in day-to-day life. But obviously when people learn English for the first time, they're going to be learning about all the typical phrases, all the common phrases and words. If you're using some slang that's unique to your region of the UK, of course they're not going to understand you, and then you can't get frustrated for them not to understand you. So if you were to say something along the lines of, I don't know, "Oh, that bloke over there, he owes me £5. That's going to go straight over an immigrant's head. That bloke over there owes me £5. Why don't you slow down and use different terminology? So, oh, that man over there, he actually owes me £5. So do you see how I slowed down and I used the word pounds instead of quid, and instead of saying bloke, I said man, because people aren't going to learn what bloke is, right? You have to live in a country for many years to then learn other words for man. So reduce the slang that you use. Number 4 is use hand gestures. So if an immigrant is not understanding you, then you can literally get your wallet out and show them the £5, right? £5. And physically show them. Or if an immigrant is lost and they're looking for their way to the bus stop, then literally point and then point right. So just let them know, oh yeah, left and right, and use your hands. 80% of communication is body language, right? I'm sure you've heard that a million times. That's a really good way to communicate with an immigrant and speak to an immigrant, is you're going to have to be a bit more expressive with your hands. Number 5 is, it goes a long way, but smile. Even if you might be a little bit frustrated inside that you're having to repeat yourself to this person who's not understanding you, smile. You want to create a welcoming atmosphere, and one of the number one things that immigrants face is they fear. They fear people judging them, and therefore they don't practice the language. But if we create a safe space for them to make mistakes and practice English, then that's a positive thing. So smile at them, and create a friendly space for them. Number 6 is be culturally sensitive. So if you know that they're Hindu, then don't offer them a beef burger from Mackie D's. Like, do you know what I mean? It's just like, you don't want to offend them. You don't want to put them in an uncomfortable situation. And see what I did there earlier, Mackie D's. Don't say Mackie D's, say McDonald's, because an immigrant might not understand what Mackie D's is. So McDonald's. So for example, you work in a community centre and you've got a Muslim immigrant, then don't offer them food that isn't halal, right? It's just little things like that which will really make a difference. And finally, number 7 is to show respect. Just because they don't know English doesn't mean they're lower than you, right? Show respect. They are a human being with emotions, with feelings, who have probably gone through so much to get to where they are today. Just like you have. Everyone has their life experiences, right? So just pay some respect. At the end of the day, everyone's human beings. And the way we speak to someone should show that respect. Anyway, guys, I hope that video was useful. And this is my little bit of positivity for the world, especially at this time with Brexit and everything that's going on with the UK. Don't want to get into that because that's a whole new video. But yeah, that's my little guide to how we should speak to immigrants. And I wanted to leave you with one last message, and that's to love your identity. I'll see you in next week's video at the new time of Thursday and Sunday at 3 PM London time. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Cheerio.